Hello everyone, very good morning. Welcome to StudyIQ English. Welcome to the Hindu newspaper class with me. I am Saumya. Like every day, you and I will be looking at UPSC relevant articles from the Hindu newspaper, the New Delhi edition. Today, before I show you which 7 articles do we need to analyze from the newspaper, let me quickly welcome all my dear students who have joined the session already, and a very good morning to those who shall be joining now. So very good morning there, Rajendra, Sitaram, Priyanshu, Lisa, Satya, Ritu, Nigi, Santosh, Bulbul, Madhav, Sumed, Prabhav, and many code names out there. Then apart from that, Neelam, Anoop, AB, Ramu, Terukula. Very, very, very good morning. Welcome to the class. God bless you. It's your first lecture, Ritu. Very good morning, Ritu. Great to have you on the platform. We are not just a news discussion platform, but we are a group that supports each other. So, whatever doubts you have, your friends will support you through that. We have a Telegram channel as well. And the idea is to clear the prelims exam and also to have a solid understanding of all current affairs, all of them by linking them together in the easiest and the most fun way possible. So, good morning, Abhay. Good morning, Madhu. And good morning, Adi. I understood, Terukula. You are traveling, but still you will be logging on to the class, and that's wonderful to know so that you don't miss anything. And in case you do, then we are there to support you. So, good morning. Many other code names there. As my other aspirants join in, let me quickly show you that I have 7 articles from today's newspaper. The first 2 articles are editorial articles, okay, and the third article is on climate change. It is a lengthy article. Let's cover that up. Then you have some very exciting newses today. Exciting because we need to do a map work properly. Like every day, today I will take you to another country. Yes, we will travel to West Asia. I will take you to a country called Syria. I know all of us are aware by now that West Asia is in deep instability. It has seen decades of genocide and violence now. Today we are looking at Syria. So the article is a very short article on page number 14. It's a very small excerpt that just says that new forces, new clashes are now happening in Syria. But then you know that our job is not to look at the news. Our job is to dissect the news. So I have got entire Syrian map with all the background of everything that has been happening in Syria since 2011 to now. So today we will understand in detail Syria. Just like we have understood in the past, countries like Yemen, countries like DRC, countries like Sudan. Today is, and also Myanmar. Today is the chance for Syria. So I look forward to that discussion. But before that, let's quickly finish all the other news articles. Very good morning, Priyamvada. I'm absolutely well now. That's so kind of you to ask, Satya. And very good morning, aspirant Yogesh, Sagarika. Okay, let's quickly start with the first article itself. All right, let's break down this article in detail and then we shall go to Syrian map. Sumit is also here. Okay, very good. Very good, Terukula. The Tartar sport. Excellent. Pranarithi, Abhilash. Okay, let's start now. The first article for the day, editorial page, page number 6. Natgrid, the search engine of digital authoritarianism. Let's break down the title of the article. Authoritarianism. What do you mean by that? Dictatorship. Some kind of a rule in which one person has monopoly. Synonym of monopoly, dominance, hegemony, complete control. We are looking at the concept of Natgrid. How does it lead to some kind of dictatorship or authoritarian culture within India? Let's break down this article. And if we are to do a topic mapping of the article, then I would say definitely this article deals with internal security. Internal security as well as AI and digital infrastructure in India. Science and Technology, page number 3, sorry, GS paper 3, as well as internal security issues. Vikash, Nagendra, all of us have joined us. Awesome, great. Coming back to the article. What does the article say? Let's focus. Article is saying that once the 26/11 Mumbai terror attack had happened, It was such an attack that it had shocked everybody. It was a devastating attack. Yes, it happened in Mumbai long back in 2008. And what happened during this attack? In this attack, the terrorists were able to target innocent Indians. They were able to target civilians. And about 650 people had died in this episode. Many more people were injured, paralyzed for a lifetime. For Indian government, it was a major act of intelligence failure, surveillance failure, the failure of having some information in advance so that you can take a preventive action against future terror attacks. It was seen as a complete failure of intelligence on the part of India. This 2011-2008 Mumbai terror attack. After that, the Indian government thought, let us work on internal security. Let us make sure that we create a coordinated platform from which all the defense agencies, all the surveillance agencies, including the police, including other investigation agencies, all of them together are able to have proper data so that we can work on our intelligence security system. Official inquiries showed that intelligence in India is there. We do have information, but various agencies have failed. They have not been able to collect the data properly and to create a plan of prevention in advance. That means data was there. The problem was having a coordinated single one roof data. The data was scattered all over the place. So therefore, various records like travel records, visa, hotel stays of the man named David Headley were not able to be recovered by the investigation agencies on time. Data was there, but data was scattered. We could not do anything to process and use that data. This led to a realization that we need a better data aggregation, centralized data collection, and analysis to prevent future terror attack. It is exactly in this backdrop that India took some strong actions. For example, as Sumit is saying, the National Investigation Agency. India decided to create a platform also that is known as Natgrid. What is Natgrid? National Intelligence Grid. Natgrid. Yes, Karan. An intelligence information on which you can take an action. Ramu tells us lovely synonyms for the word authority, dictatorship, tyranny, authoritarianism, totalitarianism, draconian. Thank you, dear. Absolutely, that's what I mean. Good morning, Kojumba. Good morning, Prakriti. Okay? Yes, Karan, that's right. We had the data, we could not act on the data at all. So therefore, we decided to create the Natgrid after the 26/11 Mumbai terror attack. What is the objective behind Natgrid? The objective was to allow 11 central security agencies in India to obtain data, to get data from 21 categories of database. 21 types of information could now be available to 11 central security agencies. Yes. For example, identity of various people, their travel details, their banking details, telecommunication, telephonic details, the amount of assets they maintain. All that information could now be achieved. It was announced by the parliament. It was announced by the government in 2009, and finally the government approved the NAT grid in 2012. 2012 was in the news yesterday because we were talking about the POCSO Act. POCSO Act. We were talking about Section 6 of the POCSO Act, aggraved crimes. Today again we are looking at 2012. NatGrid that was approved in 2009 was formally approved in 2012. But now be very careful about this. It was created by an executive order. That means it was created on the government order. It was not created by an act of the parliament. When parliament passes something, it has a legal status in India. It has a statutory status in India, statute by law, statutory by parliament. But the Natgrid was not done in a statutory manner. It was only passed by the government of India through an executive order. This raised concern among people. People were concerned now. People said it does not have any parliamentary statute, and therefore it doesn't have a legal structure. There is no independent oversight here. Third, it can be a potential threat to the privacy. It can be a potential threat to the civil liberties of people, because in India, in our country where we respect and abide by our constitution. Many times we have spoken about how Indian constitution is not a body of laws and protocols. According to Dr. Ambedkar, Indian constitution is a life force. It is a living entity. That's the logic behind, as Ramu had explained long back, constitutional morality. Yes, we believe in our constitution in letter and spirit, but in our constitution we also give our citizens fundamentals like the right to privacy. When you talk about Article 21, the right to life, there is an inherent right to privacy here as well. When you talk about Article 19, right to freedom, you have an inbuilt right to free speech and expression as well. Whenever you talk about right to privacy, we are looking at the Puttaswamy case 2017. A part of Article 21, the right to privacy. Today, people are worried that Natgrid platform may do a very good job by providing centralized database of information to various central government agencies, 11 central security agencies. Maybe it helps them in creating a better intelligence to prevent terrorism, but it has not been passed by an act of the parliament. It's not statutory. Therefore, perhaps it could also try to attack the right to privacy and the civil liberties of Indian people, of Indian citizens. Today, we are looking at exactly the same situation. For many years after its approval in 2012, my students are beautifully talking about the POXO Act. My students are talking about the Vishakha guidelines that made the POSH Act possible. Prevention of sexual harassment at workplace. Very good. Absolutely. Brilliant. Now, coming back to the Natgrid. Initially, after being approved in 2012 without a statute, it was facing delays, administrative bureaucratic delays. People thought it is a platform that is only in name. It is a highly inactive platform. It was not doing any purpose initially. But there are recent reports in 2025 that prove otherwise. Many reports from 2025 have proven that about 45,000, I repeat, 45,000 per month queries have been submitted through the Natgrid. Therefore, the Natgrid is a very active platform right now. Many intelligence agencies, many police departments have already been using the Natgrid aggressively. 45,000 per month queries have happened through the Natgrid. It has been used beyond central agencies. It has been used by state police. Even officers of the rank of SP, Superintendent of Police, have used the Natgrid. Therefore, it is not just a counter-terror platform. It is also being used for routine police administration. I repeat, so listen carefully. Initially created after the 2011 attack, it was meant to be an anti-terror platform. Today, the reports have proven it is not only being used as an anti-terror platform, it is being used by the police, by the state police of various states as a routine police administrative property. People are using it for routine police jobs and routine police work. Therefore, people are more suspicious about it. Why? Because people and the government are saying that tomorrow Natgrid could be integrated with another thing that is known as NPR, National Population Register. A lot of students might still be a little confused between the difference between the NPR and NRC. What is the difference between National Population Register and National Register of Citizens? I will clarify today. I will clarify that today. Right now, the concern is about Natgrid. It is being used by the police every day. Today, the government is saying it might be attached, it might be linked to another platform called National Population Register, and that is making people scared. That's a major red flag. Why? Because Natgrid, if it is reportedly linked to the National Population Register, it will make Natgrid have an access to the data of 1.19 billion residents of India. I repeat, Natgrid, if attached to the NPR, will have an access to the data of 1.19 billion people in India, all Indian residents. This will include family linkages, demographic details. It will change the nature of surveillance in India. Natgrid was meant to take care of anti-terror activities. It was meant to control specific suspects. If we have a doubt on somebody, if we are having a suspicion against somebody, then we can track their details through the Natgrid. And who can track? Central investigation agencies and the police can track. But today, if it is linked to the NPR, we can not only track the details of suspects, we can track the detail of every Indian resident. You can have a mapping and measurement of entire Indian population. This has now become a politically sensitive issue because tomorrow, what if it also gets related to the NRC, National Register of Citizen Database? Today, artificial intelligence is playing a great role here. Great role here. For example, the Natgrid is using a specific tool. I repeat, the Natgrid is using a specific tool and the tool is known as Gandiva. Gandiva. That's the tool that's being used by the Natgrid. It is capable of doing a complete mapping. It can make an entire resolution. It can decide if multiple records belong to the same person or not. It can be combined with facial recognition, telecom know your customer protocol, KYC, driving license database, Aadhaar card. Everything about you will be registered under the Natgrid. Yes, legacy data ko jumba. Absolutely. All your history will be mapped here. This enables interference at a large scale. Now it is not just about having information of specific people. Now it's about having a data of entire Indian population. What are the risks here? The biggest risk is that we are depending on artificial intelligence. By the use of artificial intelligence, we are trying to link the National Population Register and the Natgrid together. That means if anything is using artificial intelligence, it is using machine learning. Machine learning. What is machine learning? Machine learning is a program that is using too much data from the past and then it is creating some kind of database. It is creating some kind of algorithms. You can make future predictions on the basis of this algorithm. There is a reason why companies like Amazon, Myntra, or LimeRoad, or eBay, all of these are using machine learning tools today. Why? Because they have a good data available. If I, in the last 5 years, have purchased a specific kind of product, that is the algorithm about me, my profile as a consumer. For the next 10 years also, my profile can be mapped through that. They will only sell me, endorse me, advertise me those products which I have shown interest in my past. Based on my gender, my age, my preferences, my color like, my size, all of that data they have now. That is only machine learning. When machine is able to learn a pattern and then machine is able to predict on the basis of that, correct? Very good, Karan. Pattern recognition, absolutely. So today, if Natgrid and NPR get linked, they will also run on machine learning. But is that not dangerous? Because if you are using algorithm and pattern learning, there are already biases that exist in that. Tomorrow, the same biases will also be used by the government in making policies with regards to gender, caste, religion, and geography. There is always a risk of wrong information. There is always a risk of bias against minority, the lower caste and females, because we are depending on a pattern. Correct. Very good. Absolutely, Vikash. Absolutely, Ramu. That's right. Ramu talks about the DPDP Act. Ramu talks about the Digital Personal Data Protection Act. Ultimately, it relates to data privacy. Vikash talks about the right to information. Absolutely, yes. Today, everything will become in a dark zone because all algorithms are already biased. And if we start using them in Natgrid, they will further show the bias. The government may be misled in believing that there are certain groups from various religion, various caste, various tribes, various communities that are more prone to breaking the law. Definitely they will be the easier suspect for the government. Is that a valid thing to do in a polycultural country like India? No. Tomorrow it could lead to a disproportionate targeting of minority communities, vulnerable communities. Because for the vulnerable communities, they will experience something that's known as algorithmic hit. I can write this down here. Algorithmic hit. Algorithmic hit. They will be hit by machine learning algorithm. There is always a bias against them. This might lead to harassment. This might lead to targeting. Tomorrow, a terror activity happens. Rather than doing a transparent investigation on the basis of Natgrid integrated with NPR, the police and the investigation agencies might only start suspecting those who come from minority, those who come from vulnerable group, those who are the slum dwellers, or those who come from certain kind of tribes. Why? Because algorithm has shown a bias. Algorithm will repeat what it has seen in the past. And that is what people will now start believing in. Now that means tens and thousands of searches can be done per month. If the access is enabled to more investigation agencies at the state level, it means without any autonomous investigation, safeguards are now not available to a majority of population. Plus, it is not a statutory body. Natgrid does not have parliamentary recognition. That means the government can use it also for political vendetta. Ruling political parties can use Natgrid to target their opponents. That's the biggest risk. Intelligence failure is often in India seen because of poor training, because of lack of accountability. In 2611 also we saw the failure of intelligence. Tomorrow the intelligence may once again fail because now you are only specifically targeting those whom according to Natgrid and NRC because of AI algorithm are more suspect, are more of a suspect. That means it will lead to judicial and democratic silence. Our own Supreme Court in 2017 under the Puttaswamy versus the Union of India said privacy is a fundamental right. And there is a reason, absolutely Vikash, absolutely Ramu, and all of you. There's a reason why we say that even under the Right to Information Act, even under the DPDP Act, there are certain areas which will protect an individual's privacy. We cannot access somebody's WhatsApp, social media account just like that. We need to prevent the right to privacy. We need to protect that, right? Article 21. That is what Supreme Court said in Puttaswamy case. But today, intelligence programs like Natgrid, which lack a clear legal scrutiny, could hamper this fundamental right. Public will question tomorrow that what have we done that repeatedly we are being suspected. A very good example could be the crisis regarding Bangladeshi migration. Just because there is an ongoing migration from Bangladesh of so many refugees, sometimes normal, common, valid Indian citizens are also being tortured and they are being, sidelined and they are being called as Bangladeshi immigrant. That is because people believe in patterns of the past. They don't want to investigate a new case freely and independently. That is the problem. Today, court and parliament have not examined the legality of Natgrid at all. So, therefore, in one line, if we are to summarize this article, we can say that in India, the 2611 situation was misdiagnosed. True prevention is about professional, accountable policing. It is about transparent, intelligent intelligence collection. It is not about creating an architecture that only creates a doubt and suspicion on few minority communities. After all, by creating initiatives like Natgrid, What if we also start creating a digital dictatorship? That's a very good word this article has used. Digital authoritarianism. Digital authoritarianism. Digital dictatorship. All the words told by Ramu. Hegemony, monopoly. All this is digital monopoly. And that is something we don't want. Without a statutory parliamentary backing, let's not give too much control to platforms like Natgrid. Now, to the question, what is the difference between NPR and NRC? Let's be clear about this. Yes, what is the difference? When you look at NPR, it means National Population Register. What is it? It is a database of all normal, ordinary citizens of India. Therefore, it includes both non-citizens plus citizens. Always remember, NPR. It's a population register simply. It includes both citizens of India, non-citizens as well. It was prepared under the Citizenship Act 1955, under Citizenship Rules 2003. Quickly, I will repeat. Citizenship, Part 2 of the Constitution, Articles 5 to 11. Yes, citizenship is ultimately decided by the Ministry of Home Affairs under Citizenship Act 1955. Now, what is NRC therefore and how is it different? NRC means National Register of Citizens. It is very different from NPR. NRC is a list of only Indian citizens. Yes, NRC is a list of only Indian citizens. What is the objective? To identify who is the citizen, who is not. Yes, so far it has only been implemented in one state and that is Assam. That is Assam. Why? Based on Assam Accord 1985. We have discussed previously a lot about Assam Accord. Anybody wants clarity on that? I think it's in December session. Yes. Assam Accord 1985. Under that, we have only done NRC, National Register of Citizens in Assam. It's a compilation of who is a citizen, who is not. What are the key features here? We require a documentary proof to prove our citizenship. We will remove those people who fail to prove their citizenship. It can lead to the loss of legal status of citizenship. It can lead to detention. In some cases also, you will be asked to leave the country if you are not the citizen. That's also the reason why recently, when 12 states have conducted SIR, Special Intensive Revision, Assam refused for it. Why did Assam refuse for it? Because Assam said, in 2019 we have done NRC. Why do you want to waste money by doing another SIR in Assam? Plus, it will make the local citizens more scared. So that's why we don't want more SIR. We just did 2019 NRC in Assam. I hope it's clear. NPR versus NRC. Minorities and other people are more worried about NRC. It also leads to the debate of who decides citizenship in India. Can Election Commission decide? No, absolutely not. Only the Ministry of Home Affairs can decide. That too on the basis of Part 2 of the Constitution, Citizenship Act 1955. Yes? Okay. Let's quickly have a look at the question. Should there be any doubts, do let me know. The question says, with reference to Natgrid, please consider the following statements. Very good morning. Who joined me? Iba and Ganesh. Okay. 1. Natgrid was conceived after the 26/11 Mumbai terror attack to enable security agencies to integrate and analyze scattered data across multiple databases for intelligence purpose. Second, Natgrid operates under a comprehensive legal framework. Statutory means by a law of the parliament. Statute. I have explained the difference between statutory town and census towns. Yes, statutory is always something that's by law of parliament. And it's subject to regular independent parliamentary oversight. Oversight means monitoring. Third, recent expansion of Natgrid includes its integration with population database and the use of advanced analytics, raising concerns about mass surveillance and privacy. What is privacy? 2017 Puttaswamy verdict. What is privacy? Article 21, the right to life and dignity includes the right to privacy. Which of these are valid? Answers started from Terukula. Then came Karan, Sitaram, Priyanshu, Vikash, Ritu, Priyamvada, Prakriti, Sumit, Sagarika, Madhumita, Limbs, Kojumba, Sitaram, Santosh, Madhav. Very good. Nagarjuna, codename Devil, Ritu Prasad Urapam. Very good. Very good. What else can I say? Absolutely answer is right. A big round of applause because majority is absolutely right today. Very good, Abhilash. Excellent. What about Bulbul? What about Bulbul? Did I see Bulbul and Iba's answer? I don't think I have seen. Satya? Lisa? Did I see all your answers? Now I did. Aktopam is also here. Abhilash, Vikash. Very, very good, Vikash. Always by statute. An act of the parliament that is called statutory. So never get confused if somebody uses the word statutory. In your mind, always say statute. What is statute? By a law of the parliament, by an act of the parliament. Correct? Very well answered. Great, Sumedh. Great, Ganesh. Very good evening. Perfect. Any doubts? Please let me know. Second article, page number 6, again editorial. Very good morning. Jaideep. Iba answers. Fine tune this signal to sharpen India's AMR battle. What do you mean fine tune? Make something appropriate. Make something up to date. Make it fit to improve India's AMR battle. Now, bacha, this is not a very new topic for you, but we have to do it because it's editorial main page. This is GS paper 3, Science, Technology, Health and Nutrition. We are looking at the topic of AMR. In the past, where have we discussed AMR? Quickly. 1, we have discussed it in the form of Glass report. 2, we have discussed it in the form of Muscat Convention. 3, we have discussed it in the form of AMR, MR and XDR tuberculosis, TB. We have discussed it in the form of National Action Plan on AMR 2025 to 2031. What am I talking about? AMR, antimicrobial resistance. Very good. Antimicrobial resistance. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Let me quickly explain. Before that, some quick comments are coming. Very good, Priyanshu. AMR 2.0, Vikash. Yes. Ritvik? No problem, Ritvik. Please join in. You're welcome here. Yes, Ritu. Very good. Ganesh has a question. Yes, there are documents, but who will verify whether these are valid? Now, can Aadhaar prove your citizenship? No. Aadhaar is a proof of residence. You need to have other documents for that. So recently the Supreme Court in the SIR that was done in Bihar has given a list of about 11 documents under which you can choose to prove your citizenship. So these were a list of comprehensive 11 documents. Okay. But whether these are valid and whether you satisfy for citizenship can only be decided by the Ministry of Home Affairs, that's the government of India, by using the protocols, by the methods given in Citizenship Act 1955, either by naturalization or by birth or by descent. Because I have told you multiple times, in India, we don't believe in the concept of just soli. We believe in the concept of just soli, but also just consanguine, by the basis of descent and blood ties also. So all of that is discussed there. Election Commission cannot do that. Okay. Very good, Eric. Good morning. Is that clear? Coming back to the article. What is AMR? AMR means antimicrobial resistance. Before I show you this article in one line, let me finish. What is AMR? AMR is something like, simple. If there are bacteria, viruses, fungus, and protozoa everywhere in the world, we know everywhere they are there. You know they are there on my hands also. They are there on my cheeks also. They are there on my body. They are there on this pen also. They are there everywhere. It's not like I'm living in a sterile environment. Neither are you. Everywhere we are breathing these pathogens. But why don't we fall sick? Why don't we fall sick? Because we have an immunity towards them, right? Innate plus acquired. Now tomorrow, God forbid, if suddenly immunity falls down, now look at me only. 10 years in this industry. Suddenly, sometimes such a bad viral infection happens. You are witness, you have seen me. I took 15 days to get my voice back. Even today, it is not normal. Sometimes immunity can fall because of stress, because of your poor diet, or because of any other reason. That is the time these are opportunists. All these microorganisms take advantage of that. They immediately cause an infection. Yes, because my immunity died down, it became a little lower. I got the infection. Correct. I also have something to help myself. I can go to the doctor. I can take an antibiotic. If it's a throat bacterial infection, bacteria will die. What is antibiotic? To kill the bacteria. Antifungal? To kill the fungus. What are antiviral medications? Fluvir and all that? To kill the virus. Tomorrow, if something happens, that I start taking too much antibiotic. Say, for example, once it helped me. Now I am imagining, oh, little bit headache is coming, little bit fever is coming, cold has happened. I am not even bothered to investigate whether it's a virus, whether it's an allergy. I just presume that I am getting a bacterial infection and I start consuming antibiotics back to back. A day will come, these bacteria will become resistant to that. A day will come, bacteria will not die with this medication, they become immune to it also. They will become used to it, they will start mutating accordingly, right? Now, no amount of antibiotic can kill them. Then what will I do? Think about it. What will I do? Nothing I can do until there is a new drug discovery that is done. Until some magical medicine comes, I cannot kill that. That means many people will keep dying if these medicines don't work on them. That is exactly what happened in India in the case of TB. We talk about eradicating TB, tuberculosis, right? But so much antibiotic abuse happens in our country that today we have two varieties of TB that do not die. One is called MDR TB, multi drug resistant TB. Another is called XDR TB, extreme drug resistant TB. Commonly, we use two antibiotics to kill the TB bacteria. One is known as rifampicin and the other, thank you Tericula, is known as isonazid. Today, so much abuse has happened that these germs, these bacteria are not dying with that medicine. Now what to do? Naturally, people will die. That is what we have to prevent. This is called antimicrobial resistance. When pathogens or disease causing organisms become immune to medicines and then they refuse to die, it is a disaster. Today, your World Health Organization has made a prediction. It says around 2035, we will have another pandemic. This will be known as X disease, disease X. It will be so dangerous that no medicine can kill that. That is why it is high time we should start working towards controlling the problem of AMR, antimicrobial resistance. That is what the writer of this article is saying. Do something to tackle the problem of AMR. Now you understood what is AMR. How can we cure AMR? Why does it happen? Clearly, AMR means when antibiotics stop working against infection. It is becoming the biggest public health crisis in the world, including developing countries like India. Why is it in the news right now? Recently, Indian Prime Minister Shri Modi had conducted the 129th session of Man Ki Baat, where he discusses and addresses the people of India. It happened on 28th December 2025. What did he say? Publicly, he made a statement. He said, AMR is the dread, is the fear of future. AMR is a national concern right now. He said that Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR data shows that antibiotics are now becoming ineffective against pneumonia and urinary tract infections. He has warned the people of India that stop medicating yourself. Do not do self medication. Do not medicate children by your own. Do not use antibiotics in the dairy and animal husbandry sector. I told you earlier also. AMR happens because of two reasons. One, because people like us abuse antibiotic. It's very common in India. You go to a pharmacy and say, Bhaiya, please give me one azithromycin. Now, he will not ask also, why do you need azithromycin? Because I am the doctor, I am the patient, I am the druggist, I am everything. Give me azithromycin. Why you need azithromycin? Because I can buy it, so give me. Okay, take. I take one tablet, I'm already feeling better. That is called drug abuse. That is what leads to antimicrobial resistance. One thing, I did not need it, I still had it. Second, I did not even complete the treatment. At least if you are eating, finish the protocol, have it for 5 days or 3 days. No, I'll take one tablet and I'm happy. And many people do that. I myself, I have seen pharmaceutical shopkeepers are diagnosing things like fractures, pneumonia, everything, that too without X-ray, CT scan, by their eyes. Take antibiotic, no problem. Take. What is this? This leads to antimicrobial resistance. Second problem. In animal husbandry and dairy sector also, animals are given antibiotics because these are growth promoters. In cattle, it leads to more milk production. In other animals like pigs and horses, they lead to more body growth. Hence, these are all harvested animals and they are also given antibiotics. Then what happens? If they are given so much antibiotic, it is there in the ecosystem, in the food chain. Ultimately, you will develop AMR. Yes, today, Prime Minister's speech has highlighted clearly that AMR needs to be a mainstream public health concern. It has to be in the everyday behavior of every Indian citizen. Earlier, antimicrobial resistance used to happen in hospitals and clinics. Today, it is happening everywhere. You can see it in normal village communities as well. There is such lack of awareness. The free selling of over the counter tablets has promoted this culture. Correct. Pharmaceutical business. Absolutely correct. Now, public. Today, this article is saying only by informing the doctors, only by informing the farmers, and only by making big seminars, you cannot win the battle against AMR. What you really need to do is public outreach. The government of India in 2025 has announced another ambitious plan, and this is known as National Plan for Antimicrobial Resistance Part 2, 2.0. It starts from 2025. What is the objective? The objective is to make people aware that stop eating medicines without a proper prescription. Second, complete your course. And third, do not feed these to animals at all as growth promoters. Why in India do we abuse antibiotics so much? One, overuse. The belief that one tablet cures everything. Look at COVID pandemic. What happened during COVID pandemic? COVID was a viral infection. There was no treatment for that virus, right? It is very difficult to have antiviral tablets or medicines in the first place. Okay, virus proliferates very fast, but viral is also a self-curing mechanism. Sometimes you don't need any medicine. Viral infection comes, it goes off. Your immunity is enough to fight that. What happened in India? Yes, absolutely, Vikash. To promote the pharmaceutical sector, people started endorsing vitamins. Take vitamin C, take vitamin B, take Dolo, take antibiotic, it will help your COVID. Take steroids. Some doctors are reportedly giving steroids to their patients. And did we not see what happened as a result of that? Many people died because of steroid overuse, not because of COVID pandemic. Later, across states, there were newses coming that people are developing black fungal infection, yellow fungal infection. What are all these fungal infections? Why are they happening? Because you have taken steroids. Your immunity has been suppressed. Now, anyway, you will develop all sort of infections. You see, these are the dangers of self-medication. Correct. It is happening, Urupam. Good question. Because when you feed animals with antibiotics, ultimately the same animals are being slaughtered for food also. Same animals are giving milk that humans consume. Antibiotics, once in the system, don't die. They percolate in the food chain. Tomorrow, whatever food you eat, I eat, milk that we drink, groundwater also is contaminated with antibiotic traces. Once there, it doesn't go away. It leads to contamination, chemical contamination. That's how it becomes a part of our food chain. Tomorrow, we will not respond to these medicines if we are used to having them. Yes? That's what we are looking at. Absolutely. It is very dangerous for the body. Now, therefore, in India, there are certain times it's a belief that one pill cures everything. This further makes the problem worse, actually. It makes the problem worse, actually. Now, Ritvik, to be honest, a vaccine is always a preventive cure. Okay. A preventive cure is much safer than taking a curative action, right? So, vaccines are at least well researched for. It has statistically brought down the rates of common infections, diseases like diphtheria, diseases like tetanus, Diseases like measles, at least the incidences are much lesser. Polio, there is a success rate that we have achieved. But when you look at antibiotic, we do not see any such success rate. An antibiotic cannot be a preventive treatment. It is a specific antigen that targets a bacteria. You cannot have it to feel good or to feel healthy at all. Why? A very good question was raised by Urupam here. I want to touch upon that question. Urupam just asked me, ma'am, what about why is giving antibiotic to animals dangerous for us? Now I am answering your question more professionally. Because all of them boils down to one health approach. After the COVID pandemic, we have seen that a new variety of bacteria, virus, and fungus has come, and this is known as zoonosis. All these are zoonotic microorganisms. What is zoonotic? Microbes that can cross the species barrier. They are not restricted to only humans or only animals. They can transmit between both. Yes? Bird flu, swine flu, Marburg. Okay, then you have COVID. All these can transmit between animals and humans. So if you abuse animal, it will come back to you, right? Therefore, we need the One Health approach. Under One Health approach, we believe that animal health is not different from human health. We need to make a new proper policy where veterinary science and medical science can combine together so that we create an awareness that maintaining animal health is also about maintaining human health, because today if animals are infected, it will pass on to human beings. It is all one and the same thing. That is why India has created the National Action Plan on AMR 2.0. But till date, there is a weak implementation of all these things. Why? Because in rural areas, there is no awareness. Primary and secondary healthcare is not accessible to many people in rural areas. That leads to self medication. Yes, all these are superbugs. They don't die, they cause AMR. Correct. At the same time, if you look at current surveillance system, there is a system known as National Antimicrobial Resistance Surveillance Network, NARSNet, created back in 2013. The idea is to coordinate with 60 medical laboratories across India. Then the World Health Organization keeps on updating its GLASS report. Somebody was asking, what is a GLASS report? GLASS report, it means Global Antimicrobial Resistance Use and Surveillance System report. The latest report from 2023 tells us that there are 9 priority bacteria who are now completely resistant to antibiotic. Let's fix the problem. Some fungal pathogens are also creating public health menace. Is there a solution? Yes. Make people aware. In the rural area, peri-urban area, in the cities. Stop selling medicine, especially antibiotic and steroids, over the counter, like we are doing now in the states of Kerala and Gujarat. Do it across India. Second, very good, Terukula. Indeed, there was in 2022 the first of its own kind in the world, a convention that is known as Muscat Convention. It was Muscat Ministerial Manifesto on Antimicrobial Resistance 22. That is the first global initiative towards AMR. Today in India, we are doing so many. I told you, National Action Plan on AMR 2.0. Plus, we have another system I spoke about just now. What is that system? NARSNet. I'll write down here. NARSNet. NARSNet. This was created back in 2013. What's the objective? National Antimicrobial Resistance Surveillance System to integrate medical labs with each other. Today, the World Global Health Organization is also saying focus on public awareness, create preventive action, use antibiotics only and strictly when needed, that too prescription based. Third, invest in new drugs, in new diagnostic techniques, new therapies, so that we can manage dangerous diseases like MR and XDR TB with newer medications. Today, Prime Minister's speech probably will create more awareness, but in India, it is mostly about not just lack of awareness, irrational behavior of people. People do not want to spend money on doctor, but it's not their mistake also. It is also because in India, medical is related to OOP, out of the pocket expenditure. People don't have insurance, so they don't want to spend money on doctor consultation. So make public health more reachable to people. Make online awareness campaigns more strict. Involve more doctors in the campaign. Ultimately, one health approach and awareness are the only two solutions. Now, because I have spoken about this, I want to clarify what is the difference between MDR and XDR TB. Tuberculosis caused by bacterial infection, highly contagious. Today, the TB bacteria is not dying even after taking medicine. Why? Because it has now become AMR situation. TB bacteria is resistant to two most common drugs that we use to kill TB. One is rifampicin and the other is isoniazid. These are the common treatments against TB, but because of antibiotic abuse, now there is AMR. TB bacteria doesn't die despite these two treatments. Then what happens? Treatment becomes longer, becomes more expensive, and the dangerous side effects keep on impacting the victims. It is leading to higher mortality and death. Then there is another version of TB now called XDR TB. This is extensively drug resistant TB. It doesn't respond to any known treatment. We have to now create a newer kind of antibiotic, therefore, which is only going through injection. It's an acute, aggressive line of treatment. What to do? That is the problem behind AMR. Today it is with TB, tomorrow it can be against all the diseases. So, therefore, it's high time we stop antibiotic abuse. Okay, quick question with reference to AMR in India. Look at these statements. One, irrational. What is irrational? The word rational you will hear in every question in CSAT exam. Whenever you do a reading comprehension topic, you will read the word rational, which is the most rational, logical inference from the question. Rational. What is rational? Something in which you are using your reason, logic, intelligence. What is irrational? Irrational is where you are not using any logic or intelligence. It is a stupid thing to do. Irrational and indiscriminate. What is indiscriminate? Unstoppable, non-stop, relentless is a good word. Irrational and indiscriminate use of antibiotic by public, it is a major contributor to growing AMR. Second, India's AMR system currently depends mainly on tertiary care. What is tertiary care? There are three kinds of medical care. Primary, which is only about consulting the doctor. Secondary, that is about consulting not a doctor but a specialist doctor like gynecologist, pulmonologist, obstetrics, all that. What is tertiary? In which you need to be hospitalized. Some kind of therapy or some kind of procedure needs to be done. That needs hospitalization in hospital care. That is tertiary. So we are saying in India, AMR surveillance is only depending on tertiary care, hospital care, and urban medical institutions, resulting in limited representation of rural community level resistance pattern. And three, addressing AMR effectively in India requires one health approach that recognizes and the interconnectedness between human, animal, and environment health. Which of these are valid? No. If there is a vaccine, then the chances are almost minimal, Ritvik. Minimal, Ritvik. With vaccination, chances are minimal. It's not like 100% it will not happen, but minimal chances. Minimal. Okay. So very well answered. The answer here is going to be absolutely D because all these statements are correct. So great job, Kojumba, Sagarika, Terukula, Aktopam, Iba, Priyanshu, Ramu, Eric, Liza, Adi, Ritu, Santosh. Correct. Everyone. Karan. Very good. Pranarathi, Urupam, Rajendra. I don't have any doubt. All the questions are correct. Yes? Prasad, are you missing Trump? Don't worry. Don't miss him. He's coming now. After these three articles, it's only Trump and Trump and Trump. Nothing else. Correct. Code name Devil. Rudra. Correct. Very good. Code name Luhims. Correct. Everybody right. It is the D answer. Today, everybody is answering absolutely correctly. Now, I am only surprised what is happening. Very good. Proud of you. Now, next one. Great, Sitaram. Next one. India's progress on its climate target. We are looking at climate targets. So, which GS paper does it become? It then becomes GS paper 3. Environment, ecology, and conservation of biodiversity. In 5 minutes, I want to end this article because I am waiting for the article on Syria. Let's go to Syria. Anoop AB correct. Well done, everyone. Next article, please, quickly. India's progress on its climate targets. What does this article say? What does this article say? GS paper 3. Brilliant, everyone. Very good. It says India's commitment at the Paris Agreement. Now, there is a Paris Agreement 2015. What is Paris Agreement? Paris Agreement is the first legally binding climate agreement of the world. What do you mean by that? Under Paris Agreement, various countries have made their nationally determined contributions, NDCs, that they will cut down their carbon emission by a certain percentage of their GDP by 2030. For example, what is India's NDC? India says, I will reduce my carbon emission by 45% of my GDP by 2030. And when did India? When did India make this nationally determined contribution openly? India declared its latest update in 2022. Very good. Another objective behind Paris Agreement, as told by Santosh, wonderful, is very good, Santosh, to control the total rise in global temperature by less than 1.5 degree to the pre-industrial level, and third, to make a proper carbon credit finance fund in which the developed countries will contribute some money to the developing countries of global south in order to mitigate climate change and in order to shift towards renewable energy. What is the latest target under carbon finance fund? Today the global south is demanding $1.3 trillion by 2035 from the developed countries. Okay, all this is Paris Agreement. You were missing President Trump. Here he comes. President Trump has said, I don't believe in Paris Agreement. Sorry, I want to walk out of Paris Agreement. So America doesn't respect Paris Agreement, but other countries do. Recently, we had the COP30 summit, Conference of Party 30 summit in a place called Belém, Brazil, where all these commitments were revised once again. Very good, Aktopam. Yes, yes, it is. Absolutely, Ritu, it is. Now, coming back, what has India achieved so far? Looking at India's condition, India has deeply committed to the Paris Agreement because, as Aktopam just said, after all, by 2070, India wants to become climate zero. India wants to become zero climate. No carbon emission we want. Yes, Muti Rao, very good Vikash, very good Terukula, correct, that is Brazil summit. So what is India doing right now? India has committed to the Paris Agreement based on common but differentiated responsibilities. Now, whenever you talk about India and India's participation in Paris Agreement or COP30 summits, always believe in one thing. India has always promoted the principle of CBDM. What is CBDR? CBDR. Common but differentiated responsibility. What does it mean? It means that the common goal of all the countries is to do climate control, climate mitigation, but every country is different when it comes to its capacity to control carbon emission. Every country has a different amount of money. Every country has a different capacity. So therefore, although the goal is the same, to do climate mitigation, but responsibility should be different. The developed countries have more money. They are also responsible for a higher amount of carbon emissions. So therefore, they should lead the agenda against climate change, and the developing countries should do whatever they can possibly do. You can't have same targets for everyone. That is unfair. This is a very socialistic principle. To each according to his need, from each according to his capacity. This is the principle of socialism. And that is what India propagates, CBDR. You can't compare America with Vietnam. You can't compare Germany with India. Every country has a different capacity to contribute to climate change mitigation, but our goal is the same. What are the four targets of India? One, India's NDC, nationally determined contribution, to control carbon emission by 35 to 45% by 2030 as compared to 2005 level. Second, already India has achieved the target in 2025 June that 50% of our total installed energy capacity is now coming from non-fossil fuel. That is great. Third, 175 gigawatt of renewable energy we are trying to create at a fast track speed, and therefore we have recently passed the Shanti bill, because we want to achieve 100 gigawatt of nuclear power by 2035. Is it 2035? Please confirm. I have discussed 10 times about Shanti bill. I want everybody to confirm. Under Shanti bill, India is planning to achieve 100 gigawatts of nuclear energy by 2035, 2045 or 2070. Please confirm. That I need you to tell me. Fourth, India will also now try to achieve carbon sequestration. What is carbon sequestration? When you absorb carbon dioxide, maximum carbon dioxide is absorbed. Who does that? Trees and forests do that. So India is planning to do carbon sequestration of about 3 billion tons of carbon dioxide. Very good. By 2047. So you have to mark these small words. Mark these small words. Yes, very good. By 2047, India wants to become Viksit Bharat. By 2047, we want to achieve 100 gigawatts of nuclear power. How? By investing in small modular reactors 5 and other heavy water pressurized reactors. That's why Shanti Bill has come to privatize the nuclear sector. Yes, Eric's comment, privatize the nuclear sector. Very, very good. Vikasha, Nanoop, Ramu, everybody. Very well answered. Great. Some new students are also answering. Javed, Dua, Shama. Very good. Very, very good. So, this is India's target under Paris Agreement. But I'm sorry, there is a problem. I'm sorry, there is a problem. All these targets are looking very good. They are looking beautiful. 45% NDC is wow. 50% total installed capacity from non-fossil fuel. Excellent. 100 gigawatt of nuclear energy by 2047. Amazing. India pushes for common but differentiated responsibility. Absolutely wonderful. But what is the problem? Problem is there. Problem is that after 10 years also of talking about these things, in India, the main problem is not emission intensity. The problem is absolute emission. That is the focus of this article. We in India have been able to control our total emission intensity of carbon dioxide and greenhouse gas. This we have controlled. What we have failed to control is known as absolute emission. That is still too much high. What is the difference between the two? How are they different from each other, and what do you mean by that? Listen to me very carefully, bacha. A reduction in intensity of emission is not the same as reduction in absolute emission. Why? What do you mean by emission intensity? Emission intensity means the amount of carbon dioxide or the greenhouse that is emitted per unit of GDP. Per unit of GDP. It shows how successfully an economy can produce its output with respect to its emission. Example, if a country produces more goods and services with fewer emission per rupee of GDP, intensity of emission falls down. But what is absolute emission? Absolute emission means the total amount of greenhouse gas that you are releasing as a country in the atmosphere. This is what actually matters to climate change. If GDP is growing very fast, if GDP grows very fast like it is growing in India, today the front page article also says we are expecting a growth of 7% of GDP to GDP. If GDP grows very fast, total emission can keep on increasing even when a country successfully controls its emission intensity. That is, even if you are controlling each unit of GDP, if each unit of your GDP is producing less pollution, still your total emission can be high because your total GDP is very high. This phenomena in science, in environment, is known as partial decoupling. Very important concept for UPSC. I repeat, this is known as, I've written it here, partial decoupling. Please focus on the screen. Partial decoupling. What is the problem? Focus now. India has reduced its emission intensity. What is emission intensity? Carbon emission per unit of GDP For every rupee investment that you make in production, how much carbon emission can you control? Yes. A very good example can I give you in a very easy way? I'm sitting in my studio. Fine. I have many gadgets with me. Suppose I produce these two pens. One is for the bigger screen, one is for the small screen. When I produce this, I have released very less GDP. This has been made with minimal carbon intensity. This has also been made with minimal carbon intensity. Very little carbon intensity. But what if when I tried to make my earphone? What if when I'm trying to make this? Suddenly my carbon intensity is slightly higher. Okay. Then I make some other gadget. For example, now I make the remote. Again, I'm trying to reduce my intensity. But I have made 100 such items. There is light, there is a screen, there are 5 types of pens, 10 types of remotes that I have to use to make the system work. My total production is so high that my absolute emission is still very high. Despite the fact that on individual products I have tried to control emission intensity. But the total output of this total studio has very high emission. My logic, my purpose will fail. Because climate change is still impacted by total emission. Per unit emission reduction will not support your climate goals. That's the problem India has. Why? Because India is a populated country. You can't compare India with Germany or Czech Republic or with Italy. You can't. Second, India is the fourth largest GDP. We are expanding our manufacturing sector. Naturally, emission will be on the higher side. So that is the problem today. India has been able to reduce its intensity of carbon emission by 36% by 2020, which is very good. We have achieved the target under Paris Agreement in advance. Why did we achieve that? Because we are moving towards solar energy, hydro energy, we are moving towards wind energy, nuclear power, all that we are doing. We are shifting our economy towards service sector and digital sector. That is also very good. We have invested in energy efficient schemes like PM Kusum, Ujala scheme. All that is also good. But what to do? We are a big country. Yes, we are a big country. Our total absolute emission factor is still very, very high. It is very high. We can't control that. This is known as partial decoupling. When you can control your per capita of GDP, carbon emission intensity, but you can't control your absolute emission. Very good. That is the main problem. You see, because with this, what is happening? GDP is growing very fast. Very fast it is growing. Emissions per capita can reduce, but total emission cannot be reduced. And major sectors in India which are contributing to the absolute emission happen to be steel, iron, and transportation. They are emitting a lot of carbon dioxide. Okay, so is it clear now what is partial decoupling? Nobody will get confused about partial decoupling. Yes, is it clear to everyone? I am able to reduce carbon emission per unit cost of production. Okay, I produce 100 products. Every product has a lower carbon intensity, but total when it comes to 100 products, the absolute emission is still very high. What to do about that? That I can't control. You can't compare me with my neighbor. For example, my neighbor doesn't have a studio. She only has one pen and one screen. Naturally, her absolute emission will be lower than me. Mine will not be. I have to invest in so much, right? My screen, 2 screen, my green screen, as Terukula said, my LED light, my 10 kinds of light. I have to maintain that. So I can't compare with my neighbor. Both of us are doing less per capita emission, but she only has 2 gadgets. I have 20 gadgets. So my absolute emission is naturally going to be higher, no? That is India's problem right now. This is partial decoupling. Per capita, I can reduce. But what about absolute? Look at the volume of production that I have. I can't reduce. Therefore, for 2070 net zero goal, we need to completely stop being dependent on coal and we need to move towards decarbonization. That's the challenge. Today, if you look at June 2025, India has achieved a great target. 50% of our installed capacity is coming from non-fossil fuel, right? It is coming, no? Because solar energy is growing very well in India. Very nicely it has grown. But the problem is still coal supplies 70% of power in India. What to do? Coal supplies 70% power in India. Why like that? I have explained before. Renewable energy cannot be reliable. Sun doesn't come in the evening. Majority energy demand starts after 4 p.m. You can't depend on solar energy. You can't depend on wind energy. Very recently, I have made a video on an area from Gujarat and Rajasthan, Thar Desert. Thar has some great capacity of taking wind and solar energy from there. But whenever you create the high transmission cables, it is impacting the biodiversity of the desert area. So Supreme Court has said we cannot destroy the habitat of the black buck. We can't kill the black bucks. We can't kill the black bucks, sorry. To protect these black bucks and to protect the great Indian bustard, I repeat, the GIB, great Indian bustard and the black bucks, we can't have high power transmission lines. So therefore, even if we have the potential, we can't use it completely. After all, we have to take care of ecology also. Plus, we don't have a stable grid storage. Without proper grid storage, you can't do anything. You can't store too much renewable energy. That is why nuclear is the only solution now, by the way. And today, coal is responsible for 70% energy. That is the reason why we somewhere are failing to achieve our climate goals. That day, I also explained to you there is one more problem, the total grid energy factor. For every unit of renewable energy that I produce, again, I have some carbon emission for that. How will I control that? That is a problematic thing to do. If you look at carbon sequestration, how much carbon dioxide can my forests consume? There also we have a problem now. Forest cover is reducing. Under the new Forest Right Act 20 to 2006, under the amendment to that, the total forest area is now reducing. There is massive deforestation going on. At the same time, there are problems like monoculture plantation. People are growing one type of crop in the field under Green Revolution policy. Apart from that, you have commercial trees that have replaced traditional trees. If you look at your own city, everywhere you see. Now we don't have so many neem trees, peepal trees, ashok trees, mango trees, jackfruit trees are not there. Usually, the government is creating infrastructure and the government then puts trees like eucalyptus, mango. They are easy to grow, but they don't do so much carbon sequestration. You can't replace original trees with new ones. That is dangerous again. Similarly, the policy of CAMPA, compensatory afforestation 2016. Today, government is cutting 13,000 hectare of forest. And in Great Nicobar Island, and government says, I will compensate for this by growing trees in Haryana. What logic? This is a tropical area. How can you grow tropical evergreen forest in a place like Haryana? It doesn't make any sense. Then you create trees like eucalyptus who do not even have proper carbon sequestration capacity. It will not solve your purpose. It can't help. Roadside plantation, roof plantations, they don't have carbon sequestration capacity. They don't have. So actually the problem is today the actual forest area increase has been minimal in India. This only means that we cannot just celebrate the fact that we are achieving Paris Agreement target. We cannot celebrate the fact that we are achieving the target of reducing our per capita emission reduction. No, despite the fact that emission intensity is lowering down, total absolute emission is still high, coal dependence is still high, deforestation is on the rise, and that is why we need a better transition plan. And I think the only solution right now can be one, protecting the forest, two, quickly investing in the nuclear energy, and three, understanding that deforestation, even if it's being done for a bigger purpose, will always take a toll on your ecology. There is nothing you can justify when you cut a tree. There is nothing you can justify. Absolutely. Thank you so much there. Tauthang, thank you. Lowest forest cover, Sumit. Yes, Land Acquisition Act 2013. Very good. It is the state bird of Rajasthan. It is endangered. Very good. Vikash. Quickly the question. With reference to India's climate commitment and their implementation, look at these statements. 1. India has achieved Paris Agreement target of reducing emission intensity of GDP before 2030 deadline, that is before Paris Agreement, mainly due to expansion of non-fossil fuel power and energy efficiency measures. Second, despite achieving 50% of non-fossil fueled installed power capacity, coal continues to dominate the electricity sector in India due to intermittent nature of renewable energy and poor energy storage. And three, India's forest based, think carefully, read carefully. India's forest based carbon sequestration targets are being met mainly through natural forest regeneration and better, enhanced means better, biodiversity outcome. Which of these are correct? Vikash, Terukula, Priyanshu, Sumit. Sumit. Anybody else? Sitaram. Madhav. Anybody else wants to answer? Kojumba answers. My dear Kojumba is very confident this time. Anybody else? Bulbul, Iba, Ayan, Akhtar, Akhtopam, Sagarika, Priyanshu. Okay, Limbs. Okay, anybody else? Anybody else who wants to try? Anup? Very good. Have I seen Prasad's answer? Have I seen Terukula's answer? Abhilash, Santosh? Okay, interesting. Sitaram has answered. I saw your answer. Here, absolutely first is correct. Second is also correct. Third cannot be correct. How can third be correct? AB? Yes, very good, awesome. Third cannot be correct. Why will third be correct? What does third say? That India is able to do carbon sequestration by creating so many forests and a better biodiversity. No, 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 not possible. We are complaining that we are cutting trees. Total forest area is declining. We are doing monoculture. We are believing in lame policies like Campa. Just now, somebody confirmed. Who confirmed about Haryana? I would like to go back to that statement. Sumit said Haryana already has the lowest forest cover. And another student of mine, Tauthang, also explained about the Great Nicobar. That means it is opposite, right, of the truth. Very good, Eric, Piyush, Aktopam. Okay, Terukula. Yes, yours is always the first. Yeah, my bad. Okay, so A is the right answer. That's absolutely correct. Now, before we go to President Trump, Ramu, did you answer this time? I'm just realizing I haven't seen Ramu's comment for a long time now. Monica, that's right. Very good. Did I miss it or did Ramu not answer? What about Javed? Has Javed answered? Monica answered. Very good. Yes? Ramu, did you answer or did I miss it this time? Okay, before we go to Syria and before I explain you the Syria controversy with MAP, here's a quick notice on something else that President Trump has been doing. Priyanshu, you were thinking of him. Here he comes. We all understand recently President Trump has captured Venezuela. We all know now the new threat is going towards Cuba, a key ally of President Maduro, the key enemy of President Trump, and also countries like Colombia and Greenland are under threat. Yesterday, through MAP, we have discussed in detail Greenland, the location of Greenland, owned by Denmark. Denmark, a major member of NATO. The Prime Minister of Denmark yesterday said, if Trump captures Greenland, it will defeat the purpose of NATO completely. It could lead to another world war. Yesterday we saw the location of Greenland. I told you, it is very strategic. It is strategic because from there you can maintain a good view of various missile programs, defense programs, and space programs. We saw the location and situation of the Thule Air Base of America in Greenland. All that we have done yesterday. Today, another issue has happened regards to President Trump. After capturing all the boats of Venezuela by calling them as shadow fleet, by saying they are not recognized under the classification society, IACS. They are not classified there. Yesterday, in fact, President Trump has given another shock. He captured a Russian oil tank. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. This is absolutely a precursor to creating a war-like situation. Recently, he threatened Iran. Today, he is also trying to, yes, Priyanshu. Today, he is also trying to threaten President Putin himself. Because Mr. Trump has now captured another oil tanker. This time, the oil tanker belongs to Russia. Where did all this happen? It has happened in the North Atlantic Sea. I want to show you the location of the North Atlantic Sea. Let's be very clear with our physical maps also. This is a slightly congested map in which you can see South America. In the news, we have recently thoroughly covered Venezuela. Trinidad and Tobago Island. We have seen North America. In the news, we have seen countries like Cuba. Today, we are looking at North Atlantic Ocean. Where is it located? Please have a look carefully. On the right side, you can see the big African continent with the largest number of countries, close to about 64 countries. That's Africa. Above Africa, you can see the areas of West Asia, Europe. Now look at the area in between. Very good, Vikash, the Ika Coast point. Look at the area in between. Between North America, South America, and on the east you have Africa. The area in between, in the northern side, happens to be your North Atlantic Ocean. Please have a look at it, North Atlantic Ocean. As you absorb the map, let me quickly talk about what's going on. The same President Trump who had captured oil tankers from Venezuela, various oil tankers like the Bella 1, such as Skipper, today has also captured another oil tank, and this one relates to Russia. Russia responded immediately by sending a rescue mission in the form of a submarine. Could this be another warning to Russia? Could this be a warning that under Monroe Doctrine, very good Terukula, another tanker was Centuries. Three he had captured. Today he has captured the fourth one. Could this be an alarm to the global community that under Monroe Doctrine, I completely control the South American region? Today we are saying it's not Monroe, it's Dundro Doctrine. Could it also mean that any ship that is floating close to the Caribbean, close to the North Atlantic, will always be monitored by America under the protocols of IACS, International Classification Society? Because every ship that doesn't have a proper classification paper will be captured by America. After all, America monopolizes the IACS because of the domination of petrodollar. You see, so this could be a build-up of a future war. We don't know. So from this news, just we need to know the newer development. We just need to know the total number of tankers captured. We need to have a good idea of the location of North Atlantic. Please see North Atlantic. This is North Atlantic. Nobody should ever be confused. North Atlantic, okay? Where is it exactly? Between America on the left, America, North and South. Right side, you have Europe and Africa. Then what is Pacific? If you go to the opposite side of America, not the right but the left side, where you start finding Japan, South Korea, that is Pacific. That is why whenever we talk about China's monopoly, we always refer to the Indian Ocean and the Pacific area, Indo-Pacific area. China has nothing to do with this region. This is US monopoly, Atlantic. Always remember, Atlantic is the monopoly of America, Caribbean is the monopoly of America, but left side, Pacific, Indo-Pacific, and South China is the monopoly of China. Okay, so be clear about it. Now let's come to the most important news for the day, the last news for the day also. Very, very good, Sumed and Satya Vikash. International Association of Classification Society. Very good. Ring of Fire Pacific. Now let's go to the main news for the day. It's a very small news, but we need to understand the story. This is also coming from page 14. It says, new clashes have erupted between the Syrian forces and the Kurdish fighters in Aleppo. In the last 2-3 years, there are two areas of Syria that have constantly been in the news. One is the Idlib and the other is the Aleppo. These two have repeatedly come in the news. They can also be asked in the places in the news, in prelims. What's going on in Syria? Why are these two areas in the news? How should we understand the map of Syria? Let's have a look. On the left side, you can see the broader map of West Asia. Please try to find the location of Syria here. Syria is right here. In the past, we have done the map of Jordan. Why? Because Indian Prime Minister went to Jordan. In the past, we have discussed Israel because of Israel-Palestine conflict. In the past, we have seen Saudi Arabia, and below Saudi Arabia, we have also seen Yemen. Today, we are looking at a country that is sandwiched between its neighbors in West Asia. For example, the northern neighbor Turkey, eastern neighbor Iraq, southwestern neighbor Israel, southern neighbor Jordan, Lebanon, the western neighbor. Look at the critical location of Syria, my dear, in the West Asia. Very critical location. Sandwiched in the Mediterranean Sea between countries like Turkey, Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Lebanon. There comes a great mnemonic by Vikash. Please remember. Yes, Priyanshu, yes, everyone, it is sandwiched between all the countries. You can have a mnemonic and learn that. I just want you to focus on the small Mediterranean Sea. I want you to focus on all its neighbors. Turkey from the north, Iraq from the east, Jordan from the south. West side, you have Israel and Lebanon. Okay, landlocked area. Gilit, great. Now look at the right side map. This is a closer map of Syria. In the closer map of Syria, I am marking with my red pen two places that are constantly in the news. One, here it is, Aleppo. Aleppo has been in the news throughout. Consistently, it has been in the news. As you look at Aleppo, just also have a look at the left hand side. There is the capital here, Damascus, on the left. Correct? Now, before I proceed with the news of this area, just everybody focus on the southern left side of the right hand side map. You can see a small area here known as Golan Heights. This was asked in the UPSC exam 2021 and 2022. Golan Heights. You can see the area here, Golan Heights. Golan Heights is an area here. It has been captured by Israel. I repeat, it has been captured by Israel. Here is Golan Heights. This is the critical location of Syria. Now let's come back to the news. What has happened in Syria? What is a broad history of Syria? Now, you all remember that Arab Spring had happened in 2010 and 2011. What was Arab Spring? A series of movements that happened in Arabian nations against dictatorship government. We have seen how Libya also got impacted, and in 2011 it led to the fall of Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. We saw that. Today we are looking at Syria. What happened in Syria? In 2011 the war started. At that time, Syria was ruled by a leader by the name of Al-Assad, Bashar al-Assad. I repeat, Kojumba, beautiful statement there. Bashar al-Assad. He was an authoritarian dictator leader who used to believe in a very, very hegemonistic government. I'm talking about Bashar al-Assad, 2011 Syria. Now, inspired by the Arab Spring, the movement spread to Syria also. The movement spread to Syria, and people in Syria started fighting. They started protesting for better job. People started fighting for freedom. People started fighting for political reforms. They were not happy with Assad government. There was a news which said that people in Syria are not getting basic bread to eat. One banana they cannot afford for their children, whereas Mr. Assad and his wife were living a life of luxury. The government used to use force and weapons to crush these protests. From a peaceful protest, it led to armed rebellion, and finally, it led to a full-blown civil war. In 2012, there was so much war in Syria that Syria finally got divided. It became split into various zones. Rather than being one homogeneous country, it split into a war zone-like situation. Different zones were now owned by different parties. For example, the government was owning some zones in Syria. Let's proceed with other maps now. For example, some area was owned by the government. Some area was owned by these rebel groups from 2011. All this led to a massive chaos. There is a very good word for chaos. It is known as pandemonium. Pandemonium. There was a massive chaos, mayhem, and pandemonium in Syria. Yes, with Syria being divided into different war zones. Because of so much fragmentation and because of so much war zoning, advantage was taken by a new military group. This was an extremist jihadi group named as ISIS. ISIS, very famous from this area. ISIS took the advantage and started radicalization. They started capturing large parts of Syria, but not only Syria, also the neighborhood called Iraq. ISIS became the leading jihadi group in Syria as well as Iraq. Massive genocide started, radicalization started, massive atrocity began, and ultimately ISIS was able to declare Syria as a caliphate. As a caliphate, a country run by Islamic jihadi group. Brutal violence was happening in this area that shocked the world alike. But now comes President Trump. When the Western powers are looking at all these situations, they are not happy. Naturally, they want to control all this from happening. They do not want this area to be radicalized. It was leading to bombing and recruitment from other parts of the world too. Now comes a time when there are two people who try to stop the ISIS. Who is trying to stop the ISIS? One, President Trump, and two, the Kurdish led force. It is the Kurdish people who are now trying to control or stop the ISIS from spreading their agenda. Therefore, a new group comes into the power. This is known as SDF. SDF. Okay, a new group comes in the power named as SDF. This is a group led by Syrian Democratic Force. I repeat, SDF. Syrian Democratic Forces. And who are leading this group? The Kurdish are leading this group. Now, who are Kurdish people? I have told, I will repeat again. For the newcomers, I will explain today, but listen carefully. This is a Kurdish group. SDF is led by the Kurds. Who supports the Kurdish group? Quickly, can anybody tell me? I said President Trump doesn't want ISIS to make the caliphate and to rule Syria. ISIS has already made the caliphate. It is ruling Syria now. But there are two people who want to control this. One is the Kurdish group. They form the Kurdish Democratic Force and they try to fight with the ISIS. Who supports with money and weapon? President Trump supports. America supports the Kurdish group. It is backed by weapon and money from America. Finally, they are successful. Listen carefully, they are successful. In 2019, they are successful. Successfully, they eradicate. Successfully, they are able to defeat the SDF. Who defeats? Kurdish people defeat the ISIS. Kurdish people leading the party of SDF defeat the ISIS, led by President Trump. So America plus Kurd, they defeat the ISIS in 2019, although some groups are still active. Many warriors are still lying in prisons in Iraq, in Syria. But at least they are able to break the monopoly of ISIS. Now as ISIS monopoly is breaking down, comes the time for proxy war. I told you every time there is a war, it is always a proxy war of the Western powers. Very good, Vikash. Just like in Yemen, there is a proxy war between Iran, Saudi, and UAE. Now, after the ISIS has been defeated by the Kurds and by America, comes the time for proxy war. Foreign powers started coming. Very good. Now comes Russia. Russia supports the leader called Bashar al-Assad. Russia supports Bashar al-Assad. Russia is doing everything it can to support the Assad government. Russia is also helping to bomb the areas who are rebelling against Assad. A very good question at this point. Why will Russia support Assad? A very important question at this point. Why is Russia supporting al-Assad? Why? There are four reasons here. Russia supported Assad because Assad is the regime that supported Russia during the Cold War, the same regime, the same party. If Assad government fell down, Russia would have lost its control in West Asia. It was al-Assad who had given Russia a very famous port in Syria named as Tartus Port. Tartus Port. It's a naval base of Russia in Syria, Tartus Port. There is another air base that al-Assad gave to Russia named as Maymim Air Base. It starts with H. It is known as Maymim Air Base. One is a port, Tartus Port. Another is an air base named as Maymim Air Base. Both are given from Assad to Russia. This makes Russia control this area. That is why Russia supports Assad. If Russia would have abandoned al-Assad, it would have done something similar to what America does. America uses and throws people. Russia did not want to do that. Russia wanted to have a secure military base in this region. That is the only military base Russia has in West Asia, Tartus and Hemim. and Russia wanted to protect that. Therefore, Russia kept on supporting al-Assad. Yes, if al-Assad would have lost, Russia would have lost all the influence. Now comes the time for America. Russia therefore kept on opposing. Russia kept on opposing America and NATO. Russia said, you do not interfere in this area, please. Stay away from this area. Because Russia said, in 2003, America came to Iraq. America destroyed Iraq and then went away, abandoned Iraq. America went to Libya in 2011, defeated Gaddafi. After that, America abandoned Gaddafi and Libya completely. Russia said, I am not going to do that. I will support Syria. I will always support Assad. I am not going to tolerate any more American policy. But one is Russia. Who are the other proxy leaders here? Now comes Iran. Yes, Iran, the Shia country which supports Houthi rebels in Yemen. Now comes Iran and Hezbollah. What interest does Iran have in this area? What interest does Iran have in this area? Iran has an interest because Iran wants to create a Shia crescent. I repeat, Iran wants to create something that is known as a Shia crescent. Iran is a Shia country. Iran wants to create a series of Shia domination. Iraq, Iran, Syria. Iran wants Hezbollah to dominate in this area. Iran wants Hezbollah. In Yemen, Iran is supporting Houthi. Here, Iran supports Hezbollah. Iran wants Hezbollah from Lebanon to also keep influence in this area. Syria is a key player in the game. Yes, if Assad government falls down, the entire stability is going to break. So Iran also supported Assad and Iran supported Hezbollah. So Iran and Hezbollah are both supporting Assad. So today, how many friends does Assad have? Russia, Iran, Hezbollah. But now comes in the picture the northern neighborhood called Turkey. Now comes the northern neighbor Turkey. What does Turkey want? Turkey hates Kurdish group. Turkey hates the Kurds. I have told you earlier also. In Turkey, Kurds are demanding a separate area for themselves. Separatist movement. Turkey doesn't like that. Turkey hates that. Turkey is always against the Kurdish movements near its border. But Kurdish have already now defeated ISIS. Kurdish forces are ruling in Syria, northern Syria. Therefore, what is happening? Turkey is scared of them. Turkey thinks Kurdish people will take away northern Syria and from there they will start demanding their place in my country also. Now what happens? Turkey doesn't want any Kurd to exist in Syria. For Turkey, it is a big fear. So now what is happening? A proxy war is going on. On the one hand, you have the Kurdish population, the ethnic group that has occupied northern Syria, supported by America. On the other hand, you have the Iran, Hezbollah, and Russia who support the Assad government. And on the other hand, you have places like Idlib. Idlib is again a place in North Turkey. You can see the location here. I'm marking it with the red. Idlib, northwestern Syria. Idlib is occupied by a new party, and this party is led by a terrorist named as Ahmad al-Shra. Ahmad al-Shra. He has captured the area called Idlib. Idlib has come under his control. Ahmad al-Shra. He is also named as Muhammad al-Jolani. I repeat, Ahmad al-Shra, Muhammad al-Jolani. He leads another terror group here called Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS. He has a link with Al-Qaeda. Today, what is he doing? He is ruling this area of Idlib. But America supports him also. Recently, America had invited al-Shra. America wants him to become the ruler of entire Syria. That is the conflict right now. Since then to now, 2020 to now, there has been constant fighting between red area led by the government, Kurdish-led forces supported by America, HTS led by al-Shra, Iran, Hezbollah, and Russia-backed forces. So it is a complete mess. Ramu has given us once again lovely words for the mess. Conundrum, confusion, all of that is going on. Now 2025, if you look at, Assad has gone. Al-Assad is not in power anymore. There is a transitional government which is there. But still there is a power vacuum. Who will control Syria tomorrow? We don't know. Kurdish people want their own influence. Iran wants to support a separate Hezbollah-led party. Al-Shra is running Idlib. America wants him to spread his influence. All that fight is going on. Today, fighting is happening in Aleppo. Why? Look at the map of Aleppo. Today, fighting is going on in Aleppo in the north. Why? Aleppo is exactly at the boundary. Aleppo is exactly at the boundary between the government-led areas and areas that are controlled by the Kurdish forces. It is a zone of transition. Now, because we have discussed Kurdish, I also want those people who don't know about Kurdish to know what is Kurd. Who are the Kurds? Now, please understand Kurdish people are a distinct ethnic group in the world. They are not a country, but let's understand they are the largest ethnic group in the world who do not have a country of their own. They are the largest ethnic group without a separate country of their own. They have their own language called Kurdish language. They are a separate ethnic group. They are mostly Sunni Muslims. They are not Arabic also. And where do they live? They have occupied areas in many countries, for example, Turkey. In Turkey, we have the largest Kurdish settlement. That is why Turkey is afraid of the Kurdish forces in Syria also. Then Iran. Kurdish are there in Iran also. Kurdish people are there in Iraq also. In Iraq, they maintain a big area called Autonomous Kurdish Area. In Syria, now they are also trying to capture power in the northeast because America supports them. They are the one who defeated the ISIS in Syria. So therefore, the war is still going on, and Syria continues to be a proxy war which is unresolved, just like sphere of influence. So that's it then. That's it about Syria. I hope the map is clear to everyone. Nobody has a doubt with map. This we can take up tomorrow. Nothing much important. That's it. That's it then. I hope it's clear to everyone. The map of Syria. If anybody has a doubt, we can have a session in which we separately take up all the conflicts. Let us have a discussion separately on DRC. Let us have one on Sudan. Let us have one on Myanmar. Let us have a separate one on what's going on in Libya, Yemen, and now Syria. We can do that also. Not a problem. Okay? Very good, Kojumba. Is that clear to everyone? Broadly, everybody understood Syria? Yes, maybe some doubts are there, but broadly you understood? Kurdish, Syria, everything? Great. Yeah, we can do that through a Zoom meeting also. We can do that. Not a problem. One of the largest ethnic group without a country. Very good. Okay, so that's it. Then there was a small news about ISRO launch and language controversy between Kerala and Karnataka regionalism that we can take up later. So thank you so much for being with me. Thank you so much. And PDF I will upload right now. Today, yesterday's and today's I will do it from in the Telegram group. No problem. God bless you, Terukula. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you so much, Satya, Terukula, Madhav, Ritu, Eric, Sitaram, Kojumba, Vikash, AB, Ayan, Akhtar, Iba, Bulbul, Sumedh. Bye-bye everyone. Bye-bye Tauthang, Santosh. Okay. Okay. Iba, Priyanshu, Aktopam, Sitaram. Anybody else I have missed out upon? Javed. Okay. Prasad. So many code names. Rajendra, Ritu, Adi, everybody there. Ritvik, Pranarithi, Urapam, Ritu, Limbs. Thank you so much. Tauthang. Okay. God bless each one of you. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you so much. My ID is, I have already mentioned it. I'll write it once again. Already once again. As Priyanshu says, you can go to the, okay, please follow Priyanshu's comment. That's exactly where the ID is. In the meantime, I can also write the name here. You will get the PDF, so don't worry. Okay, I think that's the name. So, bye-bye everyone. See you tomorrow. Quickly writing down the name here. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, then see you everyone. Bye-bye. God bless you. Bye-bye. No problem. No problem.